James Harden choked in the playoffs again. Do you remember when Kobe said this would happen?
So I don't think that style is ever going to win championships.
Kobe Bryant was right about James Harden, but the NBA world chose to ignore him. Harden's Philly flameout. Harden just ended his Sixers career in an embarrassing fashion. He did exactly what he always does in the playoffs. Put on a scoring clinic in one game so his fans can say, hey, look, he's not a choker, and then choke when it matters. In game 1 of the second round, Harden was on fire. 45 points, 57% shooting, 7 threes. Was this the year he finally figured it out? Turns out, no. In games 2 and 3, he shot a combined 5 for 28. That's rough. They lost game 2 by 34 points. Then Harden turned the ball over 5 times in another double-digit game 3 loss. But in the next game, James was back. 42 points on 23 shots. See, he's clutch. But then in game 7, when the season was on the line, he didn't come through. Again, 9 points and a 24-point loss. Just another embarrassing playoff exit for the future Hall of Famer.
He wasn't great today on the biggest stage, came into the game 4 games this series. He's had 4 field goals or less in the game. It was very bad for James Harden. This is a career-defining bad.
And Kobe saw it coming. A year before his death, Kobe and Tracy McGrady sat down to talk about James Harden's unbelievable season. The Beard was scoring 36.1 points per game, breaking Kobe's record of 35.4 for the highest scoring season of the 21st century. But the Mamba wasn't satisfied.
So are you saying you don't think James Harden and the Rockets, as constructed, can win a title?
Not with this style of play, it won't win, right? With one player dominating the ball.
Was Kobe right?
More in the
Yeah, because listen, if you take one player, you put him at the top of the key, or you put him on the wing, you're running screen rolls, you're always in front of the defense. The defense can key on that, particularly in the playoffs. And that's easy to defend.
Well, in those very same playoffs, Harden proved Kobe's point exactly. His Rockets barely snuck by the Jazz in the first round, narrowly edging out a couple of victories in a 5-game series. The lowest of the lows was in game 3, when he shot 3 for 20 and missed an insane 11 threes. In games 2 and 4, he piled on 8 turnovers. The Rockets beat the Jazz, a team they were supposed to beat, but against a better team, no way this style of play would work. And he proved that in the second round. He fell to the Warriors in 6 games, unable to top the Dubs after Chris Paul went down. Just like always, Harden couldn't come through in the playoffs against Steph and the Warriors. Kobe said that if the Warriors played more fluidly, passed the ball around more through Chris, they might have a chance. But that's not Harden's style of play. Harden's ISO ball. Sometimes, Harden needs to take over games. Occasionally, he'll need to take over several games in a row, just to keep the team above water. That's exactly what Harden said in response to Kobe.
ESPN's Rachel Nichols interviewed Kobe Bryant today, and he had said that he doesn't think that you guys can win a championship with the way you play, being so ball dominant. What's your response to that?
I mean, I have to be ball dominant just because we have injuries. You know, we had injuries throughout the course of the year, so.
But the thing is, Harden plays like that whether there are injuries or not. Harden might be the quintessential floor raiser of the 2010s. If you have him on your team, you automatically have a top 10 offense. If he's healthy all season, which he always was in his prime, you've got a playoff team. In fact, he hasn't missed the playoffs once in his 14-year career. But hero ball doesn't work in the playoffs, and the stats back it up. Usage rates basically determine how many plays you are responsible for ending while on offense, whether good or bad. Over the course of an entire career, most great players are pretty high on the list. That's what happens when you're the go-to guy for a decade. But in terms of a single season, it's much better to be low on that list. No one who has led the league in usage percentage won a title in that season except Michael Jordan. In fact, no one who even has a top 109 single season usage percentage won a title that season except Michael Jordan. If a stat says you can only do this if you're Michael Jordan, you should avoid doing it. In that 2019 season, Harden had the second highest usage percentage of all time, 40.47%. This past year, Giannis just posted the third highest ever. Do you remember what just happened to Giannis in the playoffs? When your play is totally revolving around one guy, it's really easy to defend. If you're good enough, you can get away with it in the regular season. But when the games slow down in the playoffs, when the opposing coaches have 7 games to key in on you, it's easy to stop. Unless you're Michael Jordan. Defenses double Harden, cut underneath screens, jump passing lanes from easy assist padding passes, lock down the second bailout scorer, and most importantly, refs don't give him the same leeway. Harden's playoff scoring is 2 points lower per game than his regular season scoring. Kobe knew why, but no one listened. But there's a bigger issue than just his style of play. Harden, a team player? With these high usage players, they give off the illusion of being a well-rounded team player because assist rates are really high. But there's a difference between forcing assists to get the stat and genuinely playing team ball. Steph Curry might be the face of team first play in this generation, and his assist numbers have never rivaled Harden's. Harden is not a team guy. He's a me-first player and iso ball scorer. That's what went so wrong in Brooklyn. Kevin Durant is an ultimate team player, despite being score first. After spending years in Golden State, he wanted to do basic things like pass the ball around to find the open man. Reportedly, Harden would roll his eyes in timeouts when specific plays were called. Probably anything but a straight-up ISO with 4 guys sitting in the corner. The Ringer's Ryan Russillo has been anti-Harden for years.
I'm glad I waited. I'm glad you waited. I know what you want. I know what you want to hear. You want to hear me talk about James Harden being traded after another trade request.
When he had Harden's former teammate, the team first, Chris Paul, on his podcast, he attacked Harden's biggest issue.
This is from a listener, and it says, when Harden watches the play during the playoffs, is that brilliant spacing, or does it suck when his defender comes to help when you drive? That was Doug from Milwaukee.
I didn't hear you.
We'll let that one slide.
You're a sicko.
Chris might be too nice a guy to badmouth an old teammate, but you know what he's feeling. There's a deeper secret to basketball. The things that make great players great. For all of his reported flaws and selfishness, Kobe Bryant knew that.
There was a year there in 03 where I had 40 points in 9 straight games. Right? Shaq was out. It was a toe thing. So Phil comes to me before the stretch, says, Kobe, we need you to take over the offense. I'm like, all right, cool. So that literally—
Say no more.
I got it. Fine. I got it. So that literally started the streak of 40 straight games, 40 points in 9 straight games. Shaq comes back from injury and Phil goes, I still continue to do it, right? And then Phil calls me to his office, goes, hey, we're starting to lose the big fella. What do you mean? Well, he's not getting the attention. This 40-point streak is starting to kind of take away his fire to prove something, right? So I need you to start dialing it back. I'm like, what? He says, we're going to lose him, and we need him in June. Okay. All right. We have a game against the Clippers. I think I like 38 or something like that. And I had a chance to score 40 and get 40 again. It was a blowout game. I dumped the ball in the Shaq instead of shooting a wide open shot. The 40-point streak ended that night.
Harden's assist totals make him look like a team-first player. Kobe's reputation made him look like the opposite of that. But has Harden ever done anything like that for a teammate? Has he ever really sacrificed to help his team win? And now, Harden got his wish. He's playing alongside Kawhi Leonard, Paul George, and Russell Westbrook on the LA Clippers. 3 ball-dominant players alongside maybe the most notorious iso baller in history. What could go wrong? The big question, will Harden change? According to Harden himself, probably not. Love the confidence, but is that a good thing to hear if you're one of his new superstar teammates? Kawhi and George are both great scorers who are just past their prime. But even at their peaks, when were they ever deferring to a ball-dominant guard?
I mean, I feel like we're good. We're good. Guards like James or whoever's the best
Westbrook's last few years have been ugly, but since last year's playoffs, it's clear that he's found a home. He plays hard with a smile, he pushes the pace. Now that the slow it down Harden is on his team, how can he possibly succeed? The last time Russ played with Harden, Westbrook asked out after just a year because he knew they didn't fit. And that's back when these players were all-stars. With that being said, this can still work. This weird aging foursome can still bring the Clippers their first title, right? If healthy, Kawhi is a top 10 to 15 player at worst. Paul George is an excellent complementary piece. Still an unbelievable shooter and able to run the offense on Kawhi's nights off. Westbrook might be the ideal high-octane instant energy guy off the bench. So, does this all boil down to Harden? If he learns to play off-ball, reverting to a true shooting guard with low usage percentages, he might be the perfect fit. Kawhi and George are both slipping defensively with age, but if Harden actually tries on that side of the ball, they won't be completely hopeless. If he lets the two better players take the reins on their team, this just might work, but that's a lot of ifs for a guy who hasn't proven it. Until Harden realizes that ISO scoring doesn't work in the playoffs, until Harden realizes that being team first means more than racking up assists, until Harden realizes what it means to sacrifice for a greater good, he will never win a championship. Don't come at us. Kobe said it first. Do you think Harden's style of play can ever win a title? Do you think Harden will retire ringless? Let us know in the comments. Speaking of James Harden, watch why these players need to bounce back this year next. Listen to The Wrong Opinion, Useless NBA Trivia, and Garbage Rankings for more NBA content.